Welcome to my channel, Hotspot with Loveth, the ultimate spot for all things entertainment, ranging from celebrity gists, reviews, interesting stories, and African folktales. Subscribe now. The title of the story is Love Meant to Be. So guys, sit tight, grab your popcorn, and enjoy. Ella's life had been a series of battles and heartbreaks, each hardship etching resilience into her spirit. Living in a modest neighborhood in Lagos, her world revolved around her ailing father, who had raised her single-handedly after her mother's untimely death. Her father's condition deteriorated steadily, and Ella's meager earnings from her job as a receptionist at a local clinic were insufficient to cover his mounting medical bills. Desperation led her to consider options she would have otherwise shunned. One fateful evening, while sitting in the dimly lit room of her small apartment, scrolling through her phone, Ella stumbled upon an ad on social media by a surrogate agency, a wealthy businessman seeking a surrogate mother. The compensation was an astonishing 5 million naira, more money than Ella could have ever imagined. Her father's life depended on immediate and costly medical intervention. Torn between her principles and the dire necessity, Ella made the heart-wrenching decision to contact the agency listed in the ad. The process was swift and shrouded in secrecy. She never met the man who would be the biological father of her child, only knowing him as a reclusive billionaire who despised the idea of marriage and sought only an heir. This man's disdain for women was well known, though the reasons remained unclear. He lived a life cloaked in mystery, and even the surrogacy agency had sparse details about him. The surrogacy process began quickly, using Ella's own eggs. The pregnancy itself was uneventful, medically smooth, but emotionally turbulent. Ella tried to keep a sense of detachment from the life growing within her, telling herself it was just a transaction. However, as the months passed, she couldn't help but feel a bond with the baby. Sadly, tragedy struck on the very day she delivered. After hours of grueling labor, Ella gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She barely had a moment to catch a glimpse of his face before he was taken away by the hospital staff, as per the agreement. As she lay in the sterile hospital bed, exhausted and emotionally raw, the news came. Her father had passed away during her labor. The weight of her loss was unbearable. The only family she had ever known was gone, and she was left with nothing but emptiness and despair. The 5 million naira payment deposited into her account as promised felt like blood money. Ella slipped into a deep depression, haunted by the brief moment she had seen her child and the overwhelming grief of her father's death. Months passed in a blur. Ella lived in a fog of sorrow, the once lively woman reduced to a shell of her former self. She had no one to turn to, no purpose. The money untouched sat in her bank account, a constant reminder of her sacrifice. Ella felt as though she was drifting through life. One day, in a rare moment of resolve, Ella decided to seek professional help. Therapy sessions gradually helped her confront her grief and find ways to cope with her loss. It was during one of these sessions that her therapist suggested she try to find some purpose, something to reignite her will to live. Ella remembered her love for painting, a hobby she had abandoned years ago. She began to paint again, slowly at first, then with increasing passion. Her canvases were filled with vivid colors and raw emotions, a reflection of her tumultuous inner world. Painting became her solace, a way to express the pain she could not put into words. In an unexpected turn of events, one of her paintings caught the eye of a local gallery owner. Impressed by the depth and emotion in her work, he offered her a chance to display her art in a group exhibition. Nervous but encouraged, Ella agreed. The exhibition was a small affair, but for Ella, it marked the beginning of a new chapter. Among the visitors at the exhibition was a tall, distinguished man in his 30s. He was captivated by one of Ella's paintings, a haunting piece that seemed to resonate with his own buried sorrows. The man, named Alex, was a successful entrepreneur with a well-earned reputation for being both brilliant and emotionally distant. Drawn to the painting, Alex sought out its creator. Alex introduced himself and expressed his admiration for her work. and they fell into an easy conversation. Their meeting was the beginning of a series of encounters. Alex, intrigued by Ella's creativity, found himself seeking her out more often. They would meet for drinks where conversations about art, life, and loss flowed naturally. Ella found Alex's company unexpectedly comforting. Despite his cold exterior, she sensed a deep well of unspoken pain within him. As they grew closer, Ella confided in Alex about her father's death and her subsequent depression. In turn, Alex began to share pieces of his own past, the betrayal he had suffered, which had led to his distrust of women and his decision to remain single. As days passed and as they met, they kept on laying their vulnerability bare to themselves, spilling personal stories and experiences. It was during one of their conversations that Alex revealed that he has a child born through surrogacy. This revelation stunned Ella, who struggled to maintain her composure. As the conversation went on, realization dawned slowly. The dates, the circumstances, it all fit. Ella's heart raced as she pieced together the revelation. Could Alex be the man she had borne a child for? She asked herself. The revelation shook her to the core. She grappled with whether to tell Alex, fearing his reaction and the potential end of their burgeoning relationship. Eventually, Ella couldn't keep the secret any longer. One evening, as they walked through a park, she stopped and turned to Alex, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. She told him everything, her surrogacy, the baby, her father's death. Alex listened in stunned silence, the pieces falling into place for him as well. There was a long, heavy silence. He felt a surge of emotions, shock, confusion, and an overwhelming sense of fate. Needing to confirm the truth, he decided to visit the surrogacy agency that had facilitated the arrangement. He had to know for certain if Ella was the woman who had brought his son into the world. The next day, Alex made an appointment with the agency. He arrived at their sleek modern office, his usually composed demeanor slightly frayed around the edges. The agency director, a professional woman in her 40s, welcomed him into her office. "How may I help you today, Mr. Alex?" she asked, noting the seriousness in his expression. "I need to confirm some details about the surrogacy arrangement for my son," Alex said, his voice firm. "I need to know the identity of the surrogate mother." The director hesitated, aware of the confidentiality protocols, but Alex's determination and the stakes involved persuaded her to assist. She retrieved the records, and after verifying Alex's identity and legal rights, she shared the details. As Alex reviewed the documents, his heart pounded. There it was, in black and white, Ella's full name. It was true. The woman he had grown to love was the same woman who had brought his son, whom he named Daniel, into the world. The revelation was overwhelming, yet it brought with it a profound sense of destiny. On his next meeting with Ella, at the same park, the place where she had shared her secret, as soon as he saw her, Alex walked straight to Ella and without a word, pulled her into his embrace. For the first time, he allowed himself to feel the full weight of his emotions. Ella clung to him. She could feel the intensity of his emotions in the way he held her. "Ella," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you. Thank you for everything. For Daniel, for your courage, for being you." Ella clung to him, her tears flowing freely. "I was so scared, Alex. I didn't know how you would react." He pulled back slightly, cupping his face in his hands. "You've given me the greatest gift, Ella. You gave me a son." They stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, the weight of their past sorrows dissolving in the warmth of their connection. For the first time, both felt a sense of wholeness, as if all the broken pieces of their lives had finally come together to form something beautiful and complete. They had both been through so much, and now fate had brought them together in the most unexpected way. In the days that followed, Alex and Ella worked together to navigate their new reality. They visited their son, whom Alex had named Daniel, and slowly began to build a family, ensuring that he grew up surrounded by love and understanding. The bond between Ella and Alex deepened, rooted in their shared history and the future they were building together. Alex's initial disdain for women faded as he witnessed Ella's strength and compassion. Falling deeply in love with her as every second passed, they evolved from a shared bond of grief into a profound love. They supported each other through the darkest moments, finding solace and strength in their connection. Ella's painting flourished, her art now infused with a new sense of hope and love. In time, they married in a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by the few friends and family they had. Ella's life, once defined by loss and sorrow, transformed into one filled with love and purpose. She had found not only a partner, but also a family in Alex and Daniel. Together, they faced the future with hope, ready to embrace whatever challenges and joys lay ahead.